Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Temitope Security Conversation with Temitope Olodo. Today we're going to be having a very interesting discussion about we're going to be having a very interesting discussion about Bishop Matthew Bishop Matthew, the Diocese of Cardinal Kukah, as is known, the Bishop Kukah, who had actually had um, a bit of a run-in with some interested parties in Nigeria with regard to his latest message. Now, this is a man of God, a cleric, who for many years have been in the center of discussions about um, Nigerian socio-political issues. He's a man that is apolitical. He doesn't belong to any party. He doesn't affiliate himself with any party. But since 1979, he's actually met with almost every president in Nigeria and had discussion with them about moving Nigeria forward. So he's a man that is known to speak his mind, and he's not the type that could be easily bullied by anyone. So when in the last few days he released his Christmas message, uh, he actually got a bit of a flag from some section of the community or some interested parties who question his sincerity. Now, these are individuals that have not questioned his sincerity in the last few years, but they felt that he's crossed his boundary in terms of some of the things he's talked about. Now, I'm not going to look at the political aspect of the things that he's spoken about, but more or less, my intention is to look at his, his message from a security perspective so that we could be neutral and look at some of the things that he has spoken about and whether he has the expertise to talk about it. Now, if you really want to know if this bishop has any knowledge of the things he's talking about, I think you need to go and visit his website, the Bishop Kekuka website. He has a foundation and he's been involved in the radicalization security issues at the highest level. He's been involved in peace negotiation at the highest level. He's been involved in post-election discussions and even helping to maintain peace between political parties. So we're not talking of just somebody that woke up one morning and felt, okay, I'm going to take a swipe at Mr. President, or I'm going to take a swipe at the the government. This is an individual that is, out there in the center of politics, just like some of the religious leaders in the UK and even America who have actually come out and spoken clearly about their views on how issues should be doing. And you should know that this individual, this particular bishop, is moved by his compassion and his desire for peace and security in Nigeria. So if it's just like a father who scolds his child, not because he wants the child, not because he hates the child, but because he wants the child to succeed. And he's always said that the success of this government is a success for everyone. So from that perspective, I must put my hands up now to say that I don't think that Bishop Kukah was speaking from a, a partisan perspective. No, I think he's speaking from his concern. And even if he had made some errors, I spoken about things that we feel is not accurate, and that is what we should do. Correct those aspects, but not actually shoot down the messenger. Because it's like John the Baptist in the wilderness that is coming out here and saying, this is what I think you guys should be doing. This is the way I think things should be done. And I think we should look at it from that perspective. And that is how I want to look at this. I having lived in Sokoto myself, because the bishop in Sokoto, I understand that particular environment. I understand the where it's coming from, the drivers to his message. And I think it's important to have people like this that can speak to power. And he's not the only one. We have Pastor Tude Bakare also, who has the ear of the president, actually speaking along this line, and it's not be shut down. So, so I think we need to look at the nine. He's divided his speech into 9 different sections, and those are the sections that I think we need to look at. Look at some of the questions. I'm not going to read out everything he said um, in terms of what is written, but more or less, I would bring out some of the things he's talked about, and then talk to it and explain the mindset around his analysis and his conversation, and see how we could move it forward. I once listened to some of his videos, I watched some of his videos and listened to some of the things he's got to say in the past, which are in the public domain. And this, this bishop once talked about the fact that when the kingdom comes, when it's time to go, that Jesus said in one of his parables that, I will say, I do not know you. And they will say, but why is it that you are saying you do not know us? He said, because when I was hungry, you did not feed me. When I needed water, you did not give me water. When I needed to be clothed, you didn't clothe me. And he was trying to show that certain things that we are thinking are quite critical issues might not be critical issue in the kingdom at the end, because God wants people that will look after their neighbor. And in a country where about 100 million people are going to bed at night without a meal in their stomach, I think if this uh, Bishop Kukah is talking about some of his concerns, then we should take it on board and say, okay, fair enough, you said this, what are the solutions? So it's not about just saying, coming out with criticism, but what are the solutions? What are the things that you are looking at, putting there in the public domain that you think the president should do? And I could tell you, if you go to his website, his foundation, you find that they're doing a lot of things with a lot of organizations. They have a lot of partnership with the European Union, even in the United Kingdom and America, and across Africa, where they're working. And I know individuals that work within that structure, and I know they are committed to what they are doing, committed to a great Nigeria, committed. Some people have run away from Nigeria and are in the UK and America, enjoying the safety and security. But these individuals are there we're in Nigeria with Nigerians. So when they speak, it's better to listen to them and listen to some of the concerns they are raising rather than shoot them down. So, but he started his Christmas message by reading out the book of Isaiah, chapter 62, verse 14, which is the holy prophet Isaiah saying, "For Jerusalem, I will not be silent until her visitation shines forth like the dawn. No more shall people call you forsaken, or your land desolate, but you will be called my delight, and your light explodes." Now, what is he talking about here? He replaced the word Jerusalem with Nigeria. I will not be silent until our visitation shines forth like the dawn. So in other words, he's giving us a biblical passage to support him not being silent and speaking of, and that no longer shall your people call you desolate. Now, as people be calling Nigeria desolate, yes, of course. The Global Terrorism Index places Nigeria at number 3 consistently for the past few years. Most dangerous country. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please like this message and share it with others so that they could know. So as a Christian leader, he's saying here that he's not going to be silent. He's going to speak up, because he doesn't want the nation to be, the people to be calling forsaken, or the land to be desolate, or the people forsaken, called a forsaken people. Now, as Nigerians be called a forsaken people, yes, they have been. The indices indicate that the Nigerian, the index on policing places Nigerian police as the worst police in the world, the worst police in the world. The FSI, which is Fragile State Index, placed Nigeria at number 14 ranking for the past 5 years. The Human Index, we should not even talk about that. The Peace Index placed Nigeria at number 146, I think, with a cost of violence of over $10 billion. So even if, as you will notice from the Financial Times, they actually said Nigeria is edging towards a fragile state, and I actually came out and talked about that last week to say no. When you look at the indexes that was put together, the 4 indexes, and I will encourage you to go and watch that video. The 4 indexes, when you look at it, Nigeria is not actually a fragile state, but people might argue, and it's their opinion to argue, that Nigeria is edging towards it. But I would say Nigeria is not there, because Nigeria, there are a lot of people that are making it in Nigeria. All we need is for us to come together and actually work for a greater Nigeria, which is what the bishop is saying. He said, and if you look at that, he said, but you shall be called a delight. So in other words, you shall be called a delight. And when you are saying you're a delight, that means you're a place that everybody wants to go to, you're a place that everybody wants to associate with. There's a lot of people that want to associate with Nigeria at the moment, but we want it to even be greater than that. We want a situation where almost everybody around the world will want to associate with Nigeria. How do we get there? We can only get there if we'll reverse the atrocity that is happening in the land at the moment. There's too much bloodshed in the nation at the moment. And for somebody to come out and say, too much bloodshed, let's look at it, I do not think we need to sacrifice him or put him to the cross to nail him down, because he's only doing his job according to Isaiah chapter 62, chapter 1 and 4. I'll correct myself there. Chapter 1 and 4. So, and that is the reason why he named that particular section. He called it Christmas with that cloud of death. Now, some people will say that is the case, because even as we speak, even a few days to Christmas, 1 week to Christmas, 20 days to Christmas, a lot of atrocity happened. A lot of people were kidnapped. Even as we speak, a bishop, in Imo State, I believe, in Southeast, really was kidnapped, after Christmas. And now the security agents are running around to look for him. One was also a pastor, was the PFN, Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria's president, was adopted, before he was freed in Kaduna. So it's not like an hearsay that what Bishop Kukah was talking about. It's not an essay. What he's actually talking about is actually real to many people whose family who have lost loved ones, either to ritualists, loved ones to armed robbers, lost loved ones to spray bullets. We know that even the Operation Delta Force, the one that was set up in the Delta State or somewhere around there, if it's Imo State or Delta State, that was set up, actually killed, even after the NSAS, actually killed a lady with spray bullets, and the husband and 11-year-old daughter have been denied the right to their loved one. I've never had, as a former special constable, I've been involved in car chase in the past, and I've never heard of shooting at a moving car. In fact, in the UK, if a car starts to move dangerously, you will be asked to step back to allow that car to go, because there's an helicopter to follow it up to find out, and you can actually trace it, where it's coming from. You can actually call for backup. Where is this car going? Is it heading this way? So if it turns south, it's going this way. If it turns east, it's going this way. If it continues at the north trajectory, then it's going this way. And then you call off for backup. Then you throw things and put things on the floor to deflate the tires. But don't chase a car to the extent that it will run into people, kill people. There's no need for that. What are the rules of engagement? These are the little things that we are talking about. How can you shoot at a running car, as a high-speed car, and think that it's safe? What about if the bullet hits the driver of that car, because it doesn't have, it's not even, it's a car without a plate number that you're trying to stop. So you don't know if it's a brand new car, if the thing dropped off along the way because they entered into a pothole and they didn't realize that there are so many reasons that could be given for that. Now you shoot at the driver of the car, it hits the driver loses control and plunge into people by the side of the road, killing 10, 15. What's the justification? So when you look at it from that perspective, you see that, and this is an appeal to the Inspector General of Police and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. You need to inject diaspora security personnel into this, because there are so many Nigerians that have the skill set that can help to re-educate some of our security officers. Because if when you are living in the morning and you have the brief in the police station and you are told about the right of the citizen, your right as policing by consent, what you are supposed to do, what you are not supposed to do, what the law says, what the law does not say, even shooting, even if I'm an armed robber, I have no gun in my hand, I ran away from you, I'm running away from you, and you shoot me from the back, it's called excessive force. It's called it's murder. It's manslaughter. You have to be careful. It is recklessness. And now you have these police officers that just shoot. Don't they know that when the threat is behind you, is in front of you, and is running away from you, don't shoot at it. It's when it's coming towards you that you shoot to prevent yourself, because the life of yourself and your colleague is in danger. How could a car that is running away from you be causing you danger? In fact, it's putting the life of the community in danger. And you decide that you want to shoot at that car to stop that car by any cost, and putting the life of the community in danger. So, the more you go into Nigerian issues, the more you really get concerned about some of the things that they do. So, Bishop Kukah was actually talking about some of the challenges in Nigeria, and he went on to say, ours have become a house of horror, with fears stalking our homes, highway, cities, hamlets, and entire communities. The middle ground of optimism have continued to shift, and many genuine questions genuinely ask, what have we done to the gods? Does Nigeria have a future? Where can we find hope? Like the psalmist, from whence earth cometh my help. Now, this was taken from Psalm 121. I lift up my eyes to the hill, from earth cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, who maketh the heaven and the earth. So what he's saying here is that in a situation where there's so much bloodletting, collapsing economy, domestic and community violence, kidnapping, armed robbers. Your home is not safe because people are being kidnapped at home. The road is not safe because people are being kidnapped on the road and abducted on the road. If you go to the mosque, they are bombing the mosque. If you go to the church, there are people bringing scrapping themselves with bombs to blow the church. Even in Imo State, people were shooting into the church, which are drug people, taking their war into the church. So when you look at it, there is nowhere that is safe relatively. You can't actually say. And listen, the fact that there have been no bombing in Abuja does not mean that everywhere else is safe, because there is still bombing in Maduguri. There are still some elements of force in Kaduna. There is still some problem, in Yobe. So in different areas across the country, they experience challenges. And it's all about perception, because when this thing is in the media space and people are listening to it and listening to how callous people are beheading people, slaughtering 44 or 40 plus farmers in the farm rice, slaughtering them, beheading them, or going into a school to pick up 300 plus children. And even after those children have been released, going after another 50 plus students who were saved along the way by security agents, then you will say that yes, this bishop has a reason to be concerned. You know, he has a reason to be concerned, and those are the reasons and questions he asks. Where should our hope come from? Where can we find hope? We should be able to find hope in government. And if government is not available, if people advise the government or advise the president against appearing at the House of Representatives to speak to 360 lawmakers, where majority of them are members of his party, and the president does not even give a media brief, i.e., or even do a national broadcast apart from when he met the children to say, okay, you know what, this is the situation. People want to hear from their president. Maybe at least beginning of the year, that is what is going to happen. But people want a situation where, just like it happens in America, it happens in the UK and other countries, that immediately something happens, if their flag is dropped, the president comes out and says, this is what is happening, I've given the marching order to these people. Even when immediately the president said one or two things that is happy, the kids are coming back, and immediately is going to look at it. You notice that a lot of tension was brought down, because that's all people want. They just want to listen to their leader make a statement, and no matter how short, not sending his special advisor, but listening to him, because he's the one that was giving the vote, that was giving the mandate, and that's what is happening. So when the president doesn't speak that often, when there is that gap in communication, you find that a lot of issues are dropped into the gap, communication gap, and as a result, things like this will be written. And when it's written, it then you see people within the government sector reacting because they feel they've been doing their best is not being recognized, their best is not being achieved, is not being appreciated. And of course, one will sympathize with them for that. But when you are the servant of the people, just like the president said, he said he was given a mandate and he has no reason not to be, he has no reason not to actually answer that call and do what he's been called to do, which is what exactly we want the president to do. And I think this is what Bishop Kukah was talking about. And he talked about different different things within the discussion. He said those are he said those are trying but life-changing moments in the history of our nation. Politics and economy alone will not resolve our problem. There is enough hate and bitterness to go around. We need to pause, reflect, pray, be honest and courageous in facing tomorrow. Now, is there anything wrong in what he just said? If you are watching right now, please like this, please like it, share it with others, tell them that this is a security analysis of Bishop Matthew Hassan Kukah's Christmas message, and he's talking about the fact that there's a lot of hate around. He's not even finished dropping his message. A lot of hate have been going around. People have been saying he should be picked up. He disgraced them. He's a disgrace to the north and things like that. And we know as well as we do, as you do, that there are a lot of commentators. I'm not one of them, but a lot of them that have come out to say that, you know what, if the North should leave Nigeria as it stands today, 60% of the crime that we're talking about will disappear. So Nigeria will not have terrorism. Nigeria will not have, banditry at the high level that we have it. There will be no Fulani X-Men challenge, because they will not be able to come into the South, because if it's a different country. And there are people out there that are advocating that the North should leave or the South should leave. You talk about the IPOD, you talk about the Oduduwa people who are highlighting that if the North should leave, 60% of the crime rate, Nigerian crime rate, will drop dramatically. That, the global index, Nigeria will maybe drop to number 25, because there will be no terrorism, because nobody in the South is involved in terrorism. And apart from the freedom fighters of the Southwest, of the South, who will have gotten what they wanted, and the IPOD who will have gotten what they wanted. So when you look at it from that perspective, sometimes you stop and say, you know what, are these people right in terms of their narrative, in terms of what they are saying? But we know that we all want one Nigeria, because one Nigeria is what we want, because we will prosper together. We have opportunities and great future ahead of us. And that is what Bishop Kukah is saying here, that we need to pause and reflect and pray. But we know that in the same Bible, it says that while we pray, we also watch. Because you can't just pray and not watch. It's not just about economics and politics alone. There are other issues that we need to look at. The issue of hate is a problem, where if a Yoruba man says something, it is taken as, oh, he's a Yoruba man, he said something, we should shut him down. The Northerners, Arewas will come. If a Northerner says something, Yorubas will come up as, we're Omoluabis, we must knock that down. And if somebody in the Southeast highlight that they've been discriminated against, oh no, he's Biafra. No, we must be able to have an intelligent discussion. And if what Bishop Kukah has said in some aspect of it is not right, we should be able to correct that aspect and say, Bishop, with all due respect, you've got this aspect wrong. But from what I'm reading, if you remove politics from it, he's only just saying what he feels. He's only just saying what he feels. And when you continue to read, he talks about the fact that, there are bad times and there are good times. When the queen, and he used the example of the queen, when the queen was having some challenges, his children marriages, having challenges as far back as 1992. I was in the UK then, around that time. I said, it was a year of horror, but afterwards, when his children started getting married, it was a good time. And he talked about Anthony Joshua. When he lost his belt, it was a bad time. And when he won his belt back, it was a good time. So there are going to be good times when things will shift the other way. But if you could see commitment from the people, that all of us are in it together, not that, look, as we speak today, the American legislators were saying that they must not go on, the Democrats were saying they must not go on retreat. They must award $2,000 to each family. We have BVN. Why is it that Nigerian government does not say, okay, you know what? Even if we are going to print money, during this new year, the president will just come out and say, you know what? I know that 100 million Nigerians are in poverty, but what we're going to do is that we're going to put 30,000 naira in everybody's account, so that some people can use it to do business, and some people can use it to buy things, because we know that money, they will go and spend it, and when they spend it, it will gear up the economy. I know the House will be the people to shut the members of the House will be the first people to shut it down, because we know that when they said they should give unemployed youth more graduates money, they were the first to shut it down. But yet they are the highest paid in Nigeria, and they gulf a lot of Nigerians' resources, and they've never come out to say we're going to So when you look at all this class struggle, how people are so people will keep palliatives that are meant for the people, keep it there at their house and say that they are keeping it for the for the time when they want to celebrate their birthday so that they can share it. Then you know that wickedness is in the land. Wickedness is in the land. So when somebody says, okay, a person that have not lost a fight for 25 years, Anthony Joshua lost the battle, and it was a annus abros, a year of horror for him. But when he won it back, it was a time of joy. So him to speaking to the president and saying, you know what, where there are times of horror and times of joy that we need to move because the way things are going is not right. I don't think we should look at the things he said, just like Pastor Tunde Bakare have said also, and other very good meaning Nigerians. Look at those things, because people like me, I've decided I'm not going to be going to TV channels again to be talking too much. I used to be on TV channels almost 2-3 times a week, giving ideas, coming up with innovative concept about how things should improve. In fact, following the incident in Katsina, I talked about the super school, and a lot of people said, okay, how will it work? I said the super school will be a school that will be a combination of 10 to 20 schools. Instead of putting one or two civil defense and police officers in a school that could be overrun by 20 or 30 motorcycle um, riders. Instead of doing that, what would be quite good is to have a super school where you have five to 10 schools. Might be primary school, then you have secondary school separately, and then you put them there, and then you build a police station inside it with their armory and everything inside it, with for all the things they need, technology aid. And it will be difficult because they're like a super school, and as a result, it's easier for them to be in there in boarding school and finish, and then it will help to deal with the issue of out of school children. And I know some people feel like, oh, super schools is going to be difficult, but it might be the right way in some places. So instead of having 100 schools scattered around, you can have 20 schools with even 100, with even 50 or 150 50 officers drafted by police, maybe 10 from police, 10 from navy, 10 from civil defense, peace corps, and you have them there living in there, living in the school premises. So just like a university. So it's like it's like having a university, and the children, you have bigger school. That might be the solution. And we must not knock things like this, because it's only during challenging periods like this that we come up with innovative ideas that could actually help. So I'll be calling on the governors of the northern states to look at the issue of, super schools, where you reinforce a school, put security, embed security to it, have hospital inside it, their clinic, so that if there is injury, they have enough equipment. So when you have a school with 2,000, 3,000 students inside it, just like you have on university campuses. University campuses are super schools, whether you like it or not. And they are prosperous, and it's very difficult for Boko Haram, apart from Maduguri, it's very difficult for you to see Boko Haram going into big schools, because in big schools they have bigger security, they have police. In fact, I know University of Ife used to have a police post in there. So if we have super schools now, which are similar to a university setting, and you have all the children, they are boarding school, and they are in boarding, they are boarding. Now you can bring in all the school. You can even have the Islamic teaching embedded into it, so that they can have everything that they want. You find out that it will really, 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 really work much better than having schools scattered across, like Katsina State. You have maybe 100 schools or 200 schools. How many police officers do you want to put there? Even if you put 10, these people overrun it. But if you have 50 or 100 police officers embedded within a school, trained as school police officers, specialists, having knowledge of how to deal with crime in a school, offenses against minor, and all those things, you find out that it will work much, much better. And those schools will have security embedded into their infrastructure, so that it will be difficult for anybody to come and attack it. And even when they are under attack, it will be very easy for them to call for reinforcement, because we know how many numbers of schools of that nature exist. Now, what I'm saying is you could do boarding schools like that, but day schools will actually be day schools will actually continue. You could have your day schools, but boarding schools will be a super school rather than they just being normal school. But day schools, yes, you can just send people. People could go to day school because it's easier, because it's during the daytime, and it will be difficult for these people to go there. But we know that they have operated in the afternoon, and nobody have really stopped them. So going on with please, if you are watching, please like this video, share with others, start a watch party if you can. My name is Temitope Olodo, and we are actually talking about security analysis. We are doing the security analysis of Bishop Matthew Kukah's Christmas message. So, and after that, the third paragraph, he actually talked about another Christmas in the cloud of doom, you know, and he was more or less talking about some of the challenges, challenges that are facing Nigeria, and he talked about in the wake of the Christmas Day bombing, 2011, that he said he issued a statement, an appeal to Nigeria. In that statement, which enjoyed a wide circulation, he talked about the fact, he talked about the contrary of popular thinking, that we are not faced with a crisis or conflict between Christians and Muslims, but rather that, like the friends of Jacob, we need to humbly appreciate the limit of human understanding. And terror is a product of hate. But while hate tries to divide us, terror and death we should put together. So it's more or less talking about us pulling together. And I remember, because I was I went to Suleja, I went to Niger State, Mina, where I was invited to come and speak to them about church security, place of worship. And I spoke to almost a room of 300, more than 300 people, which included pastors and security officers. And they gave them up-to-date analysis of how to keep their church safe, safety issue, and touch wood, since then, they've not been one single crisis in Niger State. They were so impressed that I was given an award for my participation by the Christian Association of Nigeria in Niger State. I remember going there to go and speak to them after that bombing, in Niger State, of a church, and I actually brought all the pastors together and I spoke to them. And after that, nothing like that happened. So yes, and we know that it's not a struggle between Christian and Muslim, but between individuals who have taken a specific part of a religion and twisted it. Now, this is what Bishop Kukah is talking about, and he said terror is a product of hate, but why hate tries to divide us, terror and death should pull us together. So in other words, he's saying we should pull together. So how could such a man be preaching hate? How can he be preaching against the Islamic religion? It's not from what he said so far, from what you and me, what I've read out to you. So we sometimes we should not follow newspaper headlines. We should get ourselves involved in some of these things. And if you have a question for me, please put the question in the comment box, and I promise I will look into it, and I will answer it as I am here live with you. Now, going into the fourth part of his message, he asks his government in a suspended ammunition. Ammunition. And what is he talking about? He's talking about the fact that certain things seems not to be moving. Everything seems to be at a standstill, And he was talking about, I recall what he said in the past, and the fact that they've been trying to engage the government. He said our country's inability to feed itself is one of the most dangerous signs of state failure and trigger to violence. And we must confirm that what the bishop is saying is true. If anybody thinks that what he's saying is wrong, then you need to look at how people busted the bust unlocked the doors to where the palliative were kept. How thousands of people trip into that, you trembling over other road, jumping over each other to get as much food as possible. How could it get to a stage in Nigeria where people are stealing food to eat, not to sell? I've not heard of any of those palliative being resold. I've heard of those palliative being eaten by people. It got to a point that people even broke into the one of the places that was broken into in Southwest. The government had to be begging them that their seeds that have been, soaked in some very dangerous chemical, that people should return them back. Now people are so hungry. If people are not hungry, they will not go to that extent. And we know that in our country, food meant for IDP have been diverted by members of the government. They are members of government or officials. So when somebody says that now our journey to Italy is considered by the poor an extra luxury, because they don't even have food, and we know that now there are more than 100 people that are said to be in extreme poverty in Nigeria. People going to sleep at night. We should not allow that. And people will not mind if government is, borrowing money to put the appropriate infrastructure in place to make sure that food is cheap. We know with the lock of the borders, there was inflation. Of course, the president came out today as if the border was not locked, there would have been a lot of security challenges. We're not saying the president is lying on that issue, because we've got a lot of security crisis in our hand. When you slaughter 40 plus rice rice farmer, who do you think will go to the farm after that? That is the end of that harvesting in that area. And then there will be inflation, and then people will not be able to afford the food. And we've not made any provisions to say, okay, we'll give money to people just like they are doing in America. What's the difference between American citizen and Nigerian citizen? Are they not all human beings under this planet? There are people that go home with less than 2,000 naira in their pocket a day, because the 30 naira minimum, salary is 30,000 is like 1,000 naira a day. So if the government decide to give people 10,000 naira for 10 days, 2 weeks food, to say, okay, we're giving all Nigerians money for 2 weeks food, is that bad? There's nothing bad in it. To say, okay, we have 2 million Nigerians, and we're going to give, everybody, just like the Americans are doing. Americans are they have more people than us. And they say, okay, we're giving this money so that every Nigerian at least can go to bed within the next 2 weeks with food in their. I know that people will not go and start saying they want to marry wives. No, not with that 10,000 naira. I know they will buy food in their house, and that will help to, help, which will really help. If you are watching this live broadcast, please share with others, and make a comment. Let me know if you are enjoying what I'm saying. If there's a question that you want to ask. The bishop also talked about the politics of numbers, which has continued to be a slap on the face of many Nigerians. Because when people are adopted, or when there is an issue, then you have problems. You have problems with the politics of numbers. So he talked about the sleepy town of Kankara, just 130 kilometers outside Katsina, like Chibok and the Gapchi before it, had leaped into a prominence, not prominent, not because they now have potable water, electricity, or dramatic improvement in the quality of lives, but rather because it is of large footprint of evil men who have passed through their terrain. So is there anything wrong in that? He's talking about the deja vu. What happened in Chibok happened in Chibok, that happened in Kapchi, also happened in Kankara. And yet the issue there is that when children are picked up from schools, we don't have a good system for knowing the number of children in schools. The politics of number kick in. Is either 200 or 300, is 400, is 500. You know, it should not be like that in our country. We don't even know when people are killed. People, their family think they just disappeared because we don't have a fingerprint for anybody. You know, and I don't see why it's so difficult that they can't just say, okay, you know what? Anybody that is picked up for an offense should have their fingerprint taken, and they should be put on, do a pilot scheme for six cities with high volume of crime. And then you take people's fingerprint and start developing the database. I know they said they have some database, but that's not good enough for 200 million people. We don't even know who is who. That's why some people have multiple passports, multiple IDs. And we've seen it with our politicians who are bearing John Adamu today and Peter Saibu tomorrow, and they are coming up with certificates that is not mirroring what people know them to have when they went to school together. Those are issues. So when he talked about the politics of number, is not wrong when he talked about the politics of numbers. And we know that the Almajiri issue is a concern because they've become a poster child of horrible and inhuman conditions of the northern children. It's not right. I lived in Sokoto. I saw a lot of those children, and that is the truth. And when people are talking about these issues, we should not immediately raise flag it as being tribalistic or hating the North, because the bottom line is all these out of school children in 20 years time are going to become a problem. And that's the reason when you look at a projection of Nigeria in 20 years time, if nothing is done about those children are going to not have any work to do. Nobody is saying, okay, let's train them as builders so that we know we're going to need a lot of houses. We are short of millions of houses in Nigeria. These people can move into plumbing. They could move into electrical work. They could move into even a lot of work in the dam, work in the farm. Nobody is saying let's train them and give them those certificates. Because if we do that, then we know that we have children with technical skills, carpentry and things. Nobody is looking at that. Nobody is saying, okay, let's remove all these children from the town and move them into a technical super camp where they are trained, and when they come out in 6 months' time, they can do any work. They can sew and do a lot of things and feed for themselves. Because those people that are calling for Nigerians to separate, these are the kind of things they are looking at that, oh my God, if these kids, millions of them, more than 5, 6, 7 millions, are in the north, and they end up joining Boko Haram, and Boko Haram is not going to shut down in the next 2, 3 months. These kids in the next 5, 6 years are going to be adults. We already see a 10-year-old carrying weapons. So these kids do not even need to get to adulthood before they start carrying weapons. So if these kids, imagine if Boko Haram has with all his freedom, is able to get just 10% of those kids to be part of them in suicide bombing, in raiding a town, they can overrun anywhere. And that's the reason why people are saying that if the North should move away from the South, 60% of crime in the South will go down, or of Nigerian crime will go down. And you will not blame them for such an analysis, or even though we do not agree with them. So the question that the bishop is asking here is, what will they remember? What will they remember? How will they be remembered? Some of these children, 10 years time, might be 18, might be 20, might be 21. Already at 10 years old, they can carry weapons, and they've been trained on how to maneuver. Imagine if those kids fall into the wrong hands now. Banditry and all these things. The Kankara boys said that they were little boys carrying big guns. Little boys carrying big guns. If you are watching this at this moment, please like it, share it with others. Let's talk about it, because we have a serious challenge facing us in Nigeria. And when they say we are number 14 in ranking of fragile states index, we must not kid ourselves. It's a serious issue. But Nigeria is a great nation of great people. And even when some people are going to sleep at night without any food in their stomach, some people have become a millionaire today in Nigeria. And that is the paradox of Nigeria. That why some people are going into poverty, some people are lifting up into into the Nigerian dream, like the American dream. But what we want is an equitable society where at least the minimum, the vulnerable are supported. Where the vulnerable are supported. Do you know how many, if only just 10% of Nigerian population are disabled or have mental, or even just 20% of Nigerian population have mental challenges that cannot be able to hold work, and yet there is no social net for them, social welfare net for them to support them, then we are in trouble. We are in serious trouble. Please, when you log in, you can also visit my website to see some of the great things that I'm doing. Is www.traz.org. That is my website. Please, if you are watching this, you can like it, share it with others, let them know that we are talking about the security, and we're doing the security analysis of Bishop Matthew Kukah's Christmas message, and asking from a security perspective whether things that he has said is wrong, whether he's actually stepped out of order. And from what we have done so far, we've noticed that he's not actually said anything that is new. There are things that you or me, we agree with. Yes, he commended government. He said, yes, we commend the government, the federal government and state government for the rescue operation. So he's not denying them that, but he said, how long can the cycle of deceit last, forgiving that every kidnapper merely threatens their arsenal, for giving them, because people are saying that whether they were giving money or not giving money, and whether they are being strengthened, they are being emboldened, because we know for what is said that even when the kids were adopted and released across the nation on the within 48 hours or 72 hours, we know that other people were adopted, and even today people are being adopted. So the kidnappers are burdened even with the fact that the president has spoken and said this must not happen, must not continue. There is no hiding place for them. I know that with the SIM card issues, and blocking of SIM card is part of the things that government is doing, and I commend them for that. We commend them, and and some of the things that is talked about is not wrong. He said, how long can this cycle of deceit last, for giving that every kidnap merely threatens the arsenal. The men of darkness have shown for far greater capacity to shock and aware of fallen nation by constantly blindsiding us all. When will it all end? Him asking that question is not wrong. When will it end? When will banditry end? When will killing people in their farms end? When will adopting children in school end? When we know that even within 48 hours of those kids being released, some other kids were also being picked up elsewhere. If you are watching this, please like it, share with others, let them know about what we're talking about. I don't think we'll be able to finish this because we only have 6 minutes to go. Please, if you have questions, please send your questions in. In the 6th section of his message of Bishop Matthew Kukah's message. He talked about a nation in search of vindication, and he said this government owes the nation an explanation as to where it is headed, as we seem to journey into darkness. The splitting of this blood must be related to more sinister plot that is beyond our comprehension. Many people have raised the same issue, that the splitting of blood does seem to be leading somewhere. Remember, it is not the blood, the majority of the blood splitting that is happening in Nigeria at the moment is happening in the north, carried out by majority of people who are from the north. Well, there's Kanuri and some people from Nigeria and other foreign fighters. It's not happening in the south. And he's a northerner. So when he says that is there an agenda to it, he's only asking a question. Should we shoot him down for asking that question? Or should we ask ourselves that same question? What is the agenda? What's the reason for killing it? Sokoto is one of the most peaceful, Sokoto state is one of the most peaceful states. When I lived there many years ago, one of the most peaceful states. But now the villages are being vacated. People are relocating to Niger, to a country next to us, and building houses there and only coming for weekend in Nigeria. And can you imagine farmers saying that when they call on Nigerian security forces, they do not answer them quickly. So they call on security operative of another country to come and help them. That is the state, the sorrow state that we found ourselves in Nigeria. So when he asks that question, if this is a deliberate sacrifice of dreams of those who voted for the president, we know that in Katsina State, which is the home state of the president, billboards of the president have been burnt down. So in law, having been a student of law, when you say that what Bishop Kukah has said, is it fact or fiction? He's talking facts. Let's be honest. I love the president. I always made it clear that I've met the president, and I really believe that he's a sincere man, and he meant what he said about Nigeria. But we're in a situation where people are asking questions. People are asking questions. And when he said every honest Nigerian knows that there is no way any non-northern Muslim president will have done a fraction of what President Buhari has done by his nepotism and gotten away with it. Is he saying truth or facts? Because we know that a lot of people, especially the iPod and all those people, are asking for succession from Nigeria. Some of their concern is that majority of the service chief are from the north, and some of them have added, in terms of their cry for the president to replace those individuals, they've added to it that this have not changed. And I know that my brother Fatai, that just logged in, he's one of those that have spoken on this kind of subject with serious research into it, talking about some of the concerns. And yet we knew that Mr. President refused to change the service chief, even though it was a call across board, across the length and breadth of Nigeria. And some have said, I'm not saying I'm one of them, that it looks as if there is a déjà vu, that the president might be suffering from a coup d'etat syndrome, that he's afraid that if he replaces those northern officers with southern officers, because you have to replace them with somebody who are the highest, that maybe if they are southerners, they might actually carry out a coup d'etat. That's part of the concern that people have raised. I'm not saying I believe in it. I'm not saying that it's because the president have not performed. I have said that the president has performed on a lot of issues that I personally want the president to perform on, particularly when you talk about the diaspora. It's only this president that have actually brought about the commissioning of the diaspora, the setup of the diaspora commission, and even giving us, Honorable Abike Dabiri to be in charge, and she's doing a brilliant job. And I've always acknowledged that is the one that have done something on the economy in terms of putting the vice president in charge of it, and they are doing very great work in the ease of doing business. But I've always said that from a security perspective, the president seems not to be doing enough in that area. I have to go now. I'm sorry I will not be able to take the other bit, but I believe that you've enjoyed this bit, and I hope you will like it. Share with others, watch it with your friends. Let them know that I spoke about this, and maybe in the beginning of the year we might come back and revisit this message. My name is Temitope Olodo, and I'm a counter-terrorism expert, author, and president of African Security Forum. My website is www.traz.org. Please visit my website. Please like this message. God bless you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.